I'm Mark Williams, Team Footprints, and basically the premise of this is to bring together players that are former players, college and also professional, and give them an opportunity where they can speak about like a support network, an open forum where they can get to meet people that's been through the struggle as far as finding a job and transitioning from basketball to the real world. And I'm spearheading this, but I'm not by myself. I have a lot of people that really came up with the idea, and I appreciate those guys in here. I'm not going to blow them up. But we have the young lady, Danaejah Grant. Tell a little people about who you are, Danaejah, real quick. You got to unmute yourself now.
Well, where I played or what I'm doing
just
now?
Who you are, quickly.
Oh, Danaejah Grant. Played at St.John University. Yep.
Lauren.
Yeah, I'm Lauren, but y'all know me as Bugs. I was at Michigan for 2 years, and then I transferred back to Hofstra, and I played 1 year overseas this past year.
Miss Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa, graduated from Hofstra. I've been overseas for 13 years now, and probably looking to retire soon, I guess.
So, okay. Nicole, Michael.
All right. Yes, I'm Nicole Michael, also known as Flinky. I went to Syracuse University, played professional for about 7 years, and now I'm a teacher.
And Ms. Cole?
My name is Taja Cole. I played at Georgia. I played 1 year at Louisville my freshman year, and then I transferred to the University of Georgia, where I played there for 2 years, for 3 years. And then I got my master's at Virginia Tech for my final year of basketball. And I just graduated, and I'm looking to go overseas.
Ms. Tatum?
Amani Tatum. I went to James Madison University my freshman year, and then I transferred back home to Manhattan College. Currently, I'm the Student Athlete Academic Success Services. I know it's long, but I'm an athletic advisor at Manhattan College. I'm gonna just keep it short.
Ms. Brown?
Hi, I'm Erica Brown. I played at the University of Delaware, and I'm currently on the staff at Stony Brook.
Ms. Nawaji? Turn your mic on, your mic. Turn your mic on.
It's on. All right. Hi. I'm Jasmine, as introduced, from New York. I played 3 years at Wagner, graduated at Syracuse University, played a year overseas, and now I'm doing some freelance entrepreneur work at home.
Okay, and then we also have in here Batouly, Miss Batouly.
Yes, sir. Hi, beautiful people. I hope you all are doing as best as you can during this time. Batouly Camara. First started my career at the University of Kentucky, ended at the University of Connecticut. I feel like I'm losing my mind, so I hope there wasn't anything else. You always hate that person in class. Like, you had 30 people, you still forgot.
I know, right? Collins, Scarborough, Miss Scarborough.
Yeah, hi, I'm Collins. I played at Siena College and recently just finished 2 years postgraduate overseas.
Okay, and then we also have our guest, Ms. Williams. Can you tell them exactly who you are?
Oh, sure, yeah. Nicole Williams. I played with Vanessa at Hofstra University. I was there when Bugs was there for a little bit. I think I maybe overlapped a year at least while I was still helping out at Hofstra, and I played a year overseas in Israel, also with Vanessa. And yeah, that's it.
That's it. So if anybody else should come on later on, I'll actually just introduce them real quick also. So like I mentioned before, the premise again is to help you guys as far as the transition. Ironically, Vanessa's in a different situation than most of you guys because she's coming on the downside of her professional career. Some of you guys are still trying to start your professional career, basketball-wise. So I'm gonna go to Vanessa. Can you tell us exactly what was the transition period for you as far as becoming a college player at Hofstra and then moving on to the next level in professional? How was that process?
Oh, wow. Actually, I didn't even know I was gonna go pro. Basically went to Hofstra to be a part of a great business school. So I had a chance to go directly to the WNBA after that. And that was kind of caught me by surprise. So the opportunity that I got to play for the Connecticut Suns and the Minnesota Lynx definitely, you know, pushed my career to further than I thought I was going to go. So basically, after college, during college, it just took a lot of hard work, and then from there, it just the dedication to push myself to try to go to the next level. And while overseas, a lot of people, it's kind of hard to actually stay there once you get there. So it definitely takes a lot of commitment and, you know, loving what you do. So, and I've been doing it for 13 years now. I'm kind of on the winding down part of my career, and it's definitely been great. I'll kind of rather questions asked instead of me rambling on, but like, you know, I just have, I mean, I have a lot of experience over there, and I actually started my own business while I'm playing, so that I would have something to fall back on once I finish. And I just started my master's last summer because like I said, I'm on my winding down period, probably do another year and then decide if I want to retire or not. So, but yeah, I still feel good after 13 years, God bless. So.
Now, one thing that came up last week, and I think many guys can echo that, is that the agent, finding an agent. I know that Slinky mentioned it 2 weeks ago, and I know that Miss Cole, she was actually she was on the draft boards to go to the WNBA for the last coming draft that just happened, but it didn't pan out. How do you go about selecting an agent? I know that Slinky, maybe you can tell them about that real quick, because I know that you and Vanessa played together overseas.
So with my experience finding an agent, actually my agent found me. Usually, if you've had a really good career at college, agents, they look for you. They look up stats, they look for the players, and they contact you. However, my agent actually contacted me, but also my coach at Syracuse had a few connections with agents as well. So that's also another option in finding agents. Just asking your coach, because they usually will have some type of connection with agents from their previous players that went on to play pro. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, Ms. Cole, anything you want to ask the old heads and those people that were in your shoes 5, 4, 3, 2 years ago?
Not yet. I mean, I do want to know about kind of the overseas experience. I mean, she played 13 years over there, Vanessa. Where did you play?
I started in actually played for Jamaican national team, and that also helped too. But I played in Turkey, Finland, Romania, Italy, Israel, Poland. Been in Spain for the last 6 years, and went to Angola. Wow, I don't know. And I played EuroLeague, so I kind of got to travel a little bit to different countries while I was over there. I don't know if I missed a country, but I think that kind of covers it. Italy, yeah. Me and Nicole were in Italy together. We were on the same team. That's where I met this girl. We've been friends forever. So, and I met Nikki, which is Dr. Nikki. She didn't say that in her little intro, but I met her at Hofstra, obviously, as a teammate, and we played against each other in Israel. So that was kind of cool, you know. It's a great experience overseas, man. Just like I met Nicole in Italy, and we realized we were only 45 minutes away from each other, and we've been friends for forever. So since then, so yeah.
Okay, can I ask you guys a question? I think that everyone here has played overseas in some way, shape, or form. And I'll throw this out to Ms. Tatum. The overseas experience, is it similar to how I perceived it as far as loving basketball when what's the name went way over there, and then she ran into Tammy Reese and they hated each other for the most part, but they were the only Americans there? Is it really hard like that as far as the transition culturally? Miss Tatum.
She didn't go over.
Oh, she didn't hear it?
Nah, I heard you. You said you talked about going overseas though.
Yeah, overseas, the cultural difference between American basketball players and also the overseas player.
I didn't play overseas.
Yes, oh, you're right. You didn't. I meant Jasmine. Sorry, Nawaji. My bad on that one. That was Nawaji. My bad. My bad, Nawaji.
Mark, what's up with you? You good today?
No. Well, go ahead.
Was it like loving basketball?
Yeah.
No.
Wasn't. So tell, because I don't know. I've never been overseas to play basketball. Mexico doesn't count.
There was definitely a cultural shock for me when I went to Africa. I had never been there before, and things were so much different. How people treated you was different. How people communicated with you was way different. How they treated each other was way different. Like, for example, like I remember one time I was getting on the bus, and was sitting in the front of the bus, and the older girl who been on the team, she was like probably in her late 30s, and I always sit there, but she decided today she wants to sit there. And I was like, but I always sit in this seat every day since we started camp. And she's like, I don't care, I want the seat. And at the end of the day, I ended up getting in trouble for it because she's an elder. And then that's how they do it in Africa. Like, if an elder tell you to do something, then you need to do it. Like,
oh, wow.
So, right. It was huge. I struggled for a little while because it's just so much different, like how they operate and versus how we operate in America. And so It's like a mutual respect in America. Like, you respect me, I respect you. There is like, no, you respect me and you listen to me, and that's it. But Absolutely no. So I mean, I feel like it was a big cultural shock, but if you enter it like open-minded and humbly, then I feel like that's your best bet. Like, speak when spoken to, take a lot of like notes about different people, and just figure out like what will make you feel most comfortable while still respecting how they operate. So come in open-minded and like humble and receptive to like a cultural change, really.
Colin, did you have anything like that occur overseas in Ireland, I think it was?
I mean, similar to that, it was definitely a culture shock, but on the opposite side, because I was a part of a postgraduate program, Ireland's not known really for its like high basketball performing athletes and stuff like that. I was more so seen as a leader coming straight in my first year. So I didn't have to follow the rules of elders and stuff like that. I was the elder and I had to make the rules. And it was definitely difficult, being that I had to adjust to not only a new culture, a new team, but now they also had to see me as a new leader. Took leadership. I didn't know if I could be, critical of them. I didn't know if they needed extra support. I didn't know any of that. But I had to come in and kind of like change the program around. They expect 20 and 10 no matter what. And then, going overseas is definitely not like America where fouls are called. You get hit and they know you're American and they don't care. So they're like, you should be able to take that. You're a professional. And I'm like, but she is kind of punching me in the throat. So maybe I shouldn't, maybe you should call something. But so it's definitely different in that sense. But like I said, it's different because I didn't have to follow anybody else's rules. I had to like make the rules of the team.
Wow. Ms. Cole, you have any other questions?
That's all good stuff. I'm just taking it all in.
We're going to introduce we have another young lady, just Ms. Rose. Is it Rose?
Yes, it is.
How you doing? I'm Mark, and you are? What's your first name?
It's Rosemary, but I'm cool with Rose.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know that you came, I think Vanessa plugged you in.
Yes. Well, I'm basically still a freshman for overseas, but I only had one season, and I had a great season. I played with Vanessa, and we won the whole thing. It was a great experience for me, but I'm very new to everything, and I'm just here to listen and learn a lot.
I appreciate that, and thank you, Vanessa, for plugging her in. So without further ado, we're going to introduce Dr. Williams, no relation. And can you just tell the people exactly what you're currently doing and how did you get there from being a basketball player? And I'm not saying diminishing a basketball player, but now you're a doctor. Can you tell us how you got there?
That's really funny, Mark. I was thinking I was going to learn from everybody else here. That's what I was kind of coming to just join the basketball community. I didn't realize I was a guest, so to speak. But
no, you were in charge here.
Oh no, I'll definitely filter questions like Vanessa said. I think also I figured Vanessa's career is going to be a lot longer than mine, so I decided I got to keep her in business.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured I would go into medicine and figure it out and try to keep athletes on the court. But yeah, so I mean, my experience, I guess I always knew what my talent level was. I knew I was going to be good for I knew what my role was my entire life. I've always kind of been a workhorse, so I kind of knew what my role was on my team at Hofstra. I knew what my role was going to be overseas. I also had, I guess, the outlook to know that I wasn't going to be able to make it X amount of years, whether it was injuries, which I had quite a few of. But I knew I don't know who said it in the last, I listened to both of the prior episodes with you guys. And so I don't know who said it, but they said it really eloquently, like the ball is going to drop, you're going to stop dribbling at some point and you're going to be able to be involved, but you're not going to be, running down the court. So I kind of always had that in the back of my mind, whether it was because I'm 5'5", because, I'm not sure what it was, but it was always in the back of my mind. So yeah, I played for a year overseas in Israel. Vanessa beat me up pretty good, which just reinforced my role of needing to keep her in business and not myself. And so, yeah, I think I always had some inclination that my role and my voice was going to be used to do something else. And I am a gym rat. I think Vanessa and maybe even Boogie can tell you, like, I've been a gym rat my entire life. And I just wanted to keep people on the court and keep people healthy and let them do what they love. If I wasn't going to be able to continue doing what I loved, I wanted to help other people. So I think I had some natural inclination. I'm now in Queens, New York, at the height of COVID right now. So I'm an emergency medicine doctor. I'm finishing residency right now at Northwell, which maybe some of you guys are familiar with because they're taking over New York City. But I'm at LIJ, Long Island Jewish, and sometimes Forest Hills and sometimes North Shore Manhasset. And then I'm going to Georgetown next year as an attending. So I think that's my 2-minute elevator speech, but I don't know.
So what made you decide on the medical field? Because that's a big jump from basketball. And when you finished it from Israel, like I said, what made you say the medical field and not anything related to basketball?
So I think we're entirely underutilized in the medical field. I think we use this I've never had a real job mentality. I think it was Jasmine last time. I feel like somebody said the words, I never had a real job, and it caught me in my tracks because I was like, what do you mean you've never had a real job? You've had more of a real job than we market. And I think that idea really always sticks with me is, they tell us we need to learn how to market ourselves. They give us academic counseling to some degree, but I'm going to be honest, I still am doing this with Hofstra and they haven't got it together enough to really start answering the questions, what are you great at, and not saying my crossover. Like, we all know we have skill on the court, but I think like instilling that idea that we have something else to bring to the table at like the youngest age possible is one of the reasons when, Boogie reached out, I think I got back to her in like an hour because this is something I'm super passionate about. I just think we're so underutilized. Our talents are so, our commitment, our drive, and what we have to offer is just not, and employers want it. I'm telling you, because I am out in the business world, doing the things now, and everybody, nobody's ever asked me, how long have I played professional basketball? They never asked me how many points I made overseas or what my salary was, which I played for nothing because I was good for what I was. Like I said, I knew my role, but I also knew what basketball was going to do for me. So I've always flipped the question, I'm going to work my ass off, but what am I going to get out of it? And for me, that year of playing overseas meant that now I'm going to get into medical school because I'm going to take that year and use that on every single thing I do. I'm not going to say I wasn't the 4.0 GPA taking science classes through, Hofstra. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit and be like, oh, I was so into school. Anybody who knows me knows. I mean, I kept my head on straight, but listen, I was graduating with a basketball degree. Don't get me wrong. So right. I think I've always tried to flip it and say, I'm going to give it my all, but what am I going to get? Because I'm giving a lot and I want to know what I'm getting in return. So what I knew I was getting in return for my 1 year was the ability to say, I'm a professional athlete.
And
Mhm.
nobody cares. Nobody cares that I made $1,000 a month. You know, nobody cares that I lived in this little, I mean, Vanessa knows where I lived. I used to go to her place. I'm like, dang, I got you that nice place over there. And I'd be like, can I come over and hang out with you? And you know, I don't know where, Ramla or Herzliya, and I was sitting in Netanya, this little house on the water, and I barely had anything, but nobody asks me those questions. So I knew by playing that year, I was going to stepstone that into everything I do with my career, and I'm continuing to do now. It's a platform. So I think you asked me, I went all over the place, but I think what you asked me is, how did I choose medicine?
The medical field. Yep.
I think we are so interested in the body, into how to get faster, how to get quicker, how to jump higher, how to treat our bodies. I think we're naturally inclined to want to know those things as athletes. I knew, as being 5'5", coming out of Pittsburgh, I knew I wasn't going to have a chance with the boogies. Like, let's be honest, like I could, I knew I wasn't going to have a chance with certain things, but I knew if I gave myself the right nutrition, if I was the fastest, if I was the strongest, if I was the most annoying defender, they're going to have to put me on the court. So I think we have this natural inclination to know, like, how can we do well with our bodies, whatever body that is. Our athlete mentality is, let's take that to the next level and figure it out. So I think I've always had a natural inclination, and I think we are natural medical field professionals. I really do. And like, I really think that we are fantastic. We already know the body. We already actually know the muscles that we use. We just don't know the name. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much natural crossover, and that was a pun without being intended, but there's so much natural, what are we doing when we're lifting? We're just using our muscle. What are we doing when we're running? We're using a different kind of, you know what I'm saying? So like, there's so much crossover between basketball and medicine, and it doesn't have to be physician. My closest friend played overseas in Italy, and Boogie knows her, and she's now a nurse, and she loves it. It's a great lifestyle. I think I always look for stability. What field is going to give me stability? What field is going to give me time to do what I still love, which is be involved with sports and be in basketball? Where can I help people? Because I like using my voice on the court, but how can I use that voice to do something for humanity? And right now, more than ever, like even having a discussion right now, we obviously intrinsically we all look different, but I guarantee if you put us all on the court, we have the same goal in mind. I wanted to bring that idea to medicine. And so I think that's part of my passion right now, but I think the initial question just goes with intrinsic interest from being an athlete. And I think we all actually have it. We're just scared of science. Like, I think we're not good at science because we never like tried it. And it's like, in reality, you can do it. And I think like, that's like one of the things I had to get over is like, I never did science because they put me in rocks for jobs. Right. Well, like they put me in like this. So, go ahead, Mark.
So that's a good segue, because I was going to ask, but we have a cross section of levels of play here. We have UConn, and we have Hofstras, and we have Delawares, and we have all the different levels. Which school you guys, and I'm asking Erica Brown because she's currently in the college ranks. Do you think, not knocking your school, Stony Brook, do you think that Delaware at any point, and also Stony Brook, really helps the players as far as transitioning from level to level?
I think it does if you utilize it. You can't just wait and think that they're going to come to you, because obviously there's millions of athletes. I think at Delaware they did. I was just solely bought on, I wanted to play overseas, and then I wanted to become a coach. So I knew who I had to, like, throughout the years I was there, who I had to stay in touch with and connect with and still connect with till today. I think Stony Brook does a really good job with it. If you get connected with our guy named Izzy, he does all that stuff. I think that he's helped people. Like, one of our girls is going to go take her MCATs this year. A lot of them are getting their masters, and other ones going to nursing school. So just helping them in that way. I think that they do a good job, at least at the school that I've been. As long as you utilize it, you can't just think that people are going to come to you, and just because you're a student athlete and make sure that you're good. At the end of the day, you have to take some accountability. But as long as you utilize it, like it's there for sure.
I have a question for everyone, and everyone feel free to answer. How many really took advantage of their career development office at their school? I'll go with Ms. Grant first. Ms. Grant, I'll come to you, Cole.
Not that much, to be honest with you. I mean, because like you said, I pretty much already had my mind made up about what I was doing. And certain situations derailed that, but my mind was made up.
Ms. Cole, you said that you did take advantage of your career development office. How so?
Yeah, I honestly did. I'll say I didn't do it until probably like my 11th I mean, not 11th, my junior year of college, my mom told me, like, you know, I kept hearing growing up, the ball gonna stop bouncing, but I really took it serious once I became a junior, and just connecting and talking to people, talking to my coaches, and you'll be surprised, like Nikki said, how many people just want student athletes. Like, you know, we're used to handling adversity. We're used to working in a team. My position as a point guard, I'm used to leading a group. So during this quarantine, and ever since I was a junior and on, from me getting my master's at Virginia Tech, I just been able to network and use my platform and just use my position as a point guard and being a student athlete to talk to a lot of important people. And during quarantine, I've connected with a lot of people from Nike. I'm into fashion design. I want to be like a brand advertiser, apparel design. So I've been talking to a lot of people at Nike, a lot of people at Brand Jordan, and it's all because of the connections that I made at Georgia, connections I made at Virginia Tech. And you'll be surprised at how many people reach out and help you, but you just got to open your mouth and let them know what you want to do.
I think that you guys said it earlier. Employers are looking for athletes because, like you mentioned earlier, we like 87% I read this morning are looking for athletes because of the fact that you guys can handle adversity, deal with a lot of bullshit, to be honest with you, and you have tougher skin than most people. Most people really can't take being yelled at all the time in the professional world, whereas athletes will do a good job of dealing with that. So that's to piggyback on what Nikki said, and then also Ms. Cole. Boogie, I know I have a couple pros in here. You may know them already. Anything you want to ask them about Romania or getting back overseas, because you're stuck in that position right now where you stay, go, stay.
Yeah. I think for me, I think I had like a great experience my first year. Besides like adjusting to the culture and you know, getting used to, you know, their lifestyle, and like Jazz and everyone said how they treat each other. I think I had an overall good experience. However, they didn't mention that it can be very lonely. Well, personally for me, it was very lonely. Where I was in Romania, when you had practice, your 2-hour slot, that was it. So you couldn't go in, you couldn't get extra shots, you couldn't work on your game. So the rest of the time, I'm going back to my apartment, you know, sitting there. The city was small, so there's only one mall you could go to. So how many times a week can you go to the mall? So that's something that I had to adjust with personally, and it was really hard for me. I'm not gonna lie, I'm an only child, so that was tough for me in that aspect, but everyone's experience is different. So with me now, I'm stuck between, well, because of the experience that I had here, do I stick with it and go to another country and see if it's better, or, you know, or do I start my career? And if I want to start my career, what do I want to do? Where do I start? Who do I ask? Because at Hofstra, yeah, they had career fairs and they had resume building, but it was really tough because they didn't have like job opportunities that I would be interested in. Like they would push Cintas, which is like, I don't even know what company that is, but they would
make
push
uniforms
that.
And clothes and
Yeah,
stuff like
they make uniforms and things like that, and they would really push that. And then people would give you your business cards and they'll be like, okay, call when you graduate. Well, are you gonna remember me when I graduate in 2 years? Like it's like, hey, this is Boogie from Hofstra. Like, you remember me from 2 years ago when I was sitting in your seminar? So I'm really stuck between, do I want to continue playing, or, you know, do I want to get started on my life and get a head start? So if anyone can give advice on that.
Mark, can I ask a quick question to Boogie?
Yeah.
So, or just like a quick, I guess, for one, I think they will remember you. So I don't think you should question that. They will remember you, and they don't need to remember exactly who you were. You just need to reference what you did. Like saying I'm Boogie, I was the point guard at Hofstra is enough. Like you don't have to think like, well, they remember me specifically. It doesn't matter. Second thing, you can do both. You can go overseas and you can start figuring out what your career is. That thing is not one or the other. It's a simultaneous process. If you're overseas, that's when you do a hell of a, you know, all that loneliness is turned into networking. All that loneliness is having calls like this where you're starting to talk to people about what you want to do and what opportunities come. Even if it was not the best experience in terms of Romania, if you're still considering going back, I would devote that year to like seeing if you can still love the game overseas, but also having really good conversation with people who don't speak the same language as you. Meaning like literally find people that are so far outside of the things that you're thinking about that are going to introduce you to what they're doing. Or if you have a good idea of what you want to do, it's going to be like emailing people a lot of stuff or making that one pager of who you are and sending it out. So
that's great advice. That's great advice, actually. And I think Rose, I know that you just here to listen for the most part, Rose. I'm sorry, Vanessa, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask Boogie, what part of Romania did you play in?
I was in Constanța.
Okay, so I would say, because I played in Romania also.
Which
and
part?
I would say I was playing for Sfântu Gheorghe in Pepsi.
Okay, so
that,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was playing for that team. Really and truly, I think that if you're on the fence of if you should go overseas or not or continue your career, I have been on that fence so many times. And I never regret continuing my career because I always feel like this is a once in a lifetime thing that you do. And once you decide to give it up or once you decide to do something else, it's hard to go back to it. And you never want to have any regrets. Like right now, I literally can walk away from the game and feel amazing about what I did, like, because I'm deciding when I want to stop. Not saying that you're going to regret it, but I think that definitely you want more. After Romania, I was ready to quit, to be honest. Like
that's a tough country. It's tough. It's tough.
Definitely not a country to base your career on. I didn't like Romania at all. I never wanted to go back. It's a different experience, and trust me, there is a lot better experience out there. There's so much more you will see. Romania is it's not even close to what you're going to experience. Yes. And maybe you'll go to other places where you won't like it. But I think that, experiencing countries like Italy, Spain, France, like, and if you would like, I wouldn't mind getting with you afterwards to help you with, whatever you want, like, knowing if you have a background in, I didn't know that my Jamaican passport basically funneled my way to be in Spain for the last 6 years. I didn't know that when I was a younger player. Like, I was trying to figure out why all these players are getting jobs and I'm not getting the jobs that they're getting. And I was put with the right agent that knew, like, okay, you have a Jamaican passport, you're basically playing like a Spanish player now. So I was able to be in Spain for the last 6 years because of that. So we can look at certain things in your background to see, okay, if I have this, then maybe I can be able to play a little longer in this country instead of this country, and you can have a little bit more options. But I don't know. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
No, that helps. Yeah, thank you.
Romania is definitely not the place to stop. Sorry.
Before we get to Batouly, Rose, can you speak upon the transition that you was at this time last year, when you were just deciding whether to go stay in college and get a real job, or graduate college and get a real job, or go professional in Spain?
The transition?
Yeah.
Well, I've always knew I wanted to be a professional basketball player, so it was very easy for me to just be like, I'll leave far away from home to go play basketball. And I'm very open-minded, so the transition was very easy for me. And though I miss my family sometimes, I had some good people there like Vanessa supporting me and helping me with anything I struggle with basketball, because really and truly I'm the only one in my family that played basketball. So I would say the transition was good. And for my career, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I only looked at myself as a basketball player. I just recently figured out what I wanted to do, and that's being a psychologist, because, we're level-minded and everything like that. So I feel like I can help a lot of people. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, I mentioned I asked Erica a question about colleges. Batouly, you probably went to the most famous women's basketball program in the world. Did you think that UConn helped you prepare for the next level as far as the transition is concerned?
Absolutely. And I think I realize it more and more every single day. And when you look at UConn, I always say, some people have been coaching for over 30 years, and we may have 25 Hall of Fame players. What about the other 200? And I did research. What are those other 200, 300 players doing? and extremely successful. And I think that just goes to kind of the mentality or the process of being there and what it's like to be there and the lessons that you learn. So in so many cases, you know, coach constantly says, I'm not trying to prepare you for the next game. I'm trying to prepare you for life. And that is embedded in the walls. That's embedded in the culture, the way we do things, just having to be efficient. So when I think about my college experience, we were literally forced to go to so many interviews, to go to so many speaking engagements, to speak to donors. These experiences that I was like, I didn't have that at my prior university or that are unique. How do I even network efficiently? How do I follow up? How do I then send a care package? So these are things we all had to do. So I would say in so many ways being prepared. And for me, I wanted to take the extra step. Once I wanted to start a nonprofit, my favorite line, and I think the line to everybody, hi, my name is Batouly Camara. I'm on the UConn women's basketball team X. And I would say it has taken me far. And I would say I stepped over not just the athletic department, but to say, how can I get in touch with the dean? How can I get in touch with students who are doing the work? I got a kid to build my website for $300. How can I navigate the resources on campus? You want something in business? Go to the school of business. These graduate students are dying to do a final portfolio. How can I maximize the resources while I'm here? And saying that position at the time where I was holding was my ticket. And so that was extremely helpful.
Now, thank you for that, Julie. Ms. Tatum, now, you're currently in an academia part of the sports world, helping the young ladies and young men as far as academic is concerned. Do you feel that Manhattan does a decent enough job as far as informing the players of what to expect after graduation? I know you do, because I've actually sat in some of your stuff, but I mean, like, overall.
Yes and no. Is that an answer? I mean, for our student athletes, when I played, no. Like, there was nothing. We had a career development program that wasn't really developed. So for me, no, there wasn't any really much resources. Everything academically for me, I kind of handled myself. I was independent and I kind of worked through anything I needed. I kind of asked and went to the right people. But currently, I think we do a better job. I mean, we had, and I could be honest, we had a career development program where I am right now. And we've reworked the program because our student athletes don't really have any resources on campus. They have the Career Development Center, but really, like you guys said, you go there, you build your resume. So we created a program that they go in and they have to get their resume done and they have to go to these events. And then as long as you have coaches that want these for their students, they kind of will engage the students and have them do things such as this, you know? So our School of Business, like Batouly said, is incredible. You go to the School of Business, they'll give you the resources available, and that's in any school at Manhattan College. So we have 5 different schools. So there are resources available and they're out there. Like I think Erica said, you got to utilize those resources, and that's the biggest thing as athletes. Like, cool is basketball is cool, but just kind of going around campus and utilizing those resources is important. So yes, answers your question.
Yes and no. We had somebody join late. Shaclasia Brown, University of College of Charleston. Quickly, can you tell us about your transition from college graduate to real world, and then your college as a whole, as far as helping you get with that transition, if at all possible?
Yeah, kind of to piggyback off what Tatum said, like, my school didn't have like a career development program, and my coach didn't really care enough to like ask me, I'll say me specifically, because I was one of the best seniors, just asked me like what I wanted to do. We had a senior before, and I felt like my coach was a little bit like, she pick and chose. She had favorite players, and no names, but she made sure that player got to do whatever, go to the Final Four program and do the coaching. Do you want to be the coach program and all those things. I don't think she cared about anybody else, and it kind of showed. There was no conversation, like Amani was saying, oh, hey, what do you want to do? And I think that, like, I've never been in a program where coaches didn't care about the players. Like, that school made me realize that a lot of coaches are for the money. I grew up around Patchy, Ron, all of them. They didn't care. We used to go to games, barely making ends meet. I couldn't afford it, but we still did so many things. And then going to college and seeing coaches that could barely even motivate you and say, yo, let's get in the gym, work on that left. Like, come on, let's work out, like motivating you. Like, there was none of that. So it just, like, it completely kills you. But yeah, I graduated and I just didn't really know what to do. I was like, damn, like I'm about to go back to the hood. And I just felt stuck. And then my dad was like, yo, like, I heard Enterprise hires, like, you know, recent graduates. They love basketball players. So I just applied and I tried it, and then just been rocking with it ever since. Upon taking up the resources in college, doing photography and stuff, I started that around my junior year. And that's when I basically stopped loving basketball and started falling into that. And I just kept rocking with it ever since.
Thank you for that. Now we all know the problems. I'm gonna ask the old heads. Go with Nicole and then Collins, because they're a little older. What can we do to help the next generation of players, Slinky, Nicole, as far as providing them the blueprint and the roadmap?
Definitely have stuff like this, like definitely keeping them informed, having different like different meetings like this, you know, where they could ask questions about certain things. Definitely, we have to let them know that networking is key. I was listening to everyone talk about networking, and I also made that mistake of not networking in college. Like Batouly said, it's not just the athletic, networking with athletics. It's all over the university. It's the administration. That's very important. So even for the young athletes, for example, I have my academy. Maybe I need to mention, like, for the younger athletes, when they're taking those next steps, to always network. Networking is key. Like, that's really big. Definitely doing that. So I started networking overseas, you know, so I skipped the whole college networking process and I started networking overseas, but that's very important. So definitely having stuff like this to inform the young athletes coming up, I think it's very beneficial.
Jasmine, real fast.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in on that because I'm hearing it repeatedly in the chat. And I felt the same way. I mentioned it a little bit in our first episode, but I feel like as athletes, we have like this one-track mind because that's what we was built around since young. We all been playing since at least 10 years old, and we've been dedicating our full life, full time, energy, mind, body, and soul to basketball. So when we get to college, it's kind of like the same routine. It's all a business, and we're dedicating ourselves fully, and we miss that aspect of life that everybody else might have got. Maybe they started working at 15 years old in the normal life, and that's when they started their job and figuring things out. And I'm not saying that basketball like fully enabled us, but in a way it has, because we weren't thinking about that because we were so devoted to the game that when it came to it and we're seniors now, we're like, well, what are we going to do? I'm not getting drafted. You know, I kind of want to go overseas, but I'm fearful. I have my doubts. And then like we're left with all these questions, and now senior year, we're trying to figure it out, and like we're pretty much like lost about it, and we feel like we don't have the information and we didn't have the resources all those times. So importantly,
I'm sorry, go on, my bad.
Yeah, moving forward, and that's kind of like the business that I was kind of working on myself, like a personal business for younger students in general, but also student athletes, is bringing awareness about certain things to them at a younger age so that they have more guidance in their life and understand who they are so they can know what they want. So I feel like this is a great idea, Mark, because even people who are not in the chat, they can go online and watch it and take some of the tips that we're giving them because we've been there.
That was good shit right there. That was good shit, Jazz. Vanessa, old head.
Mark, you ain't got to keep calling me out like that.
Nah, my bad.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely a great space for helping athletes to not only deal with life after basketball, like life after college, but just life in general, because basketball does it does kind of cripple you a little bit. It helps you, but it also cripples you as if you don't know how to use it. So right. I think that us as athletes, we have to realize that when we go to make our resumes, some of us get stuck because we're like, what do we put on here? But there's so many things you can put on there. basketball gives us so much experience, team building, being able to work in a team setting, and all, like anything that you accomplished through basketball, you should be putting those things on your resume.
Right.
And don't see it as just a small thing that you did because it's basketball. You have to think about what you're doing as bigger than basketball, you know, and that's when you actually realize your value. And you're able to give values to these other companies that, you know, most of the companies that are hiring, they want an athlete to be part of their programs. You know, a lot of, I was just talking to one of my teammates and she's like, you know, there's a company that really wants to do something that incorporates athletes, but none of the people that works in the organization are athletes. And it's so funny, they're asking them to partner with them so they can get the information from them to put in this company. Why aren't they hiring us? Because we don't think that we deserve that job or we can get that job. So we definitely have to start thinking of ourselves outside the box of just being an athlete and try to prepare our minds for the real world, even as we go overseas and do it, you know. So even Boogie, you're thinking to go to the next level or go overseas, like Nikki said, while you're over there, you can think about what is it that you want to do at the next level and just try to transition from there.
Which is a great segue. Collins, because you finished in Ireland, now you did your 2 years over there. What's next for you? Did they set you up where you're going to have a position over there in Ireland, or you coming back home to hang out with us in the gym in September?
So yeah, basically after Ireland, I was kind of, I think towards the end of the year, I was pretty much like, man, I'm done with basketball and all that stuff. But I think I'm more so just done being overseas with the program. I still stay in contact with everybody over there, and I still like do little aspects of the program and help with that, and still communicate with them. But I think my place when it comes to basketball is now in New York, and I think I want to take more of a coaching side of it. And I think as like Jasmine, Slinks, and Vanessa said, stuff like this is amazing. I want to help educate athletes on how to get all they can out of basketball, because I think, again, we're seen as athletes during college a lot of the times, and we're not really taught how we can get out of it. We're shown that like, oh, how we help the school and like how other people can benefit off of us, but we don't really get taught how we can benefit off of our own experience. Kind of like Vanessa was saying with referees, like even, you know, so many athletes don't believe that they've done anything, but just the right wording, your athletic career can seem so amazing to people in college or and even going overseas. A lot of people don't realize how there's so many different ways to get overseas. And like me, like I wasn't recruited as a pro athlete. I was recruited as a student athlete to help with a program that helps in the community. And that allowed me to play overseas 2 years and get looks and stuff like that if I wanted to continue my career. And most people don't realize that there's other ways to get over there. And with that, I was able to get 2 master's degrees out of it, you know? So it's kind of benefiting from different programs and different things and just getting that knowledge from other players. Because I didn't know this, but I had a teammate that was willing to inform me and give me that information. And other girls needed to, other girls coming next.
That's great stuff. And Erica, I don't want you to get involved in this question. Answer. What do you guys think about these colleges and their new rules as far as the likeness is concerned for players, student athletes getting money now for their likeness, marketing wise? Anybody chime in?
About
Not you, Erica, because you're at the school. Ms. Grant, I want to hear from Ms. Grant. Where's Ms. Grant? How do you feel in St. John's? If you went to St. John's right now, you would be able to market yourself to get money to become to make money on the side of being a basketball player. How do you feel about that?
I feel great about it. I think it's wonderful, honestly, because you know, even though some people may say that they had jobs or, you know, could maintain a job, it's really hard to do with our schedule, with all the things. You got study hall, you got games, you have community service, you have all these different type of things. So you're not really able to have even a part-time job, I think. So being able to just market yourself, I mean, you know yourself best. So being able to just market yourself and you know, use what you're doing on the court to be able to make money, I think that's excellent. I think we're going in the right direction.
I agree. Ms. Cole, since you just graduated from that situation, how do you feel about it? Because you're the most recent graduate, I think. Yep.
Yeah, I just graduated from Virginia Tech and got my master's. I think it's a good idea. Like, I think nowadays a lot of kids are using things that resources that our parents didn't have, and they're more creative and more innovative than our parents were. So I feel like they should be able to use their talents and use, the things that they learned to market themselves. I mean, all they teach us is make sure your Instagram, your Twitter, and all of that stuff is appropriate, and you want to be an entrepreneur and things like that. So if you got the platform and you're being taught all this stuff, I don't see why not you can't be paid, and why not you can't do the things that that people older than us are doing. I think a lot of kids, they look up to us. We playing on TV every other night. Why not?
I'd agree with that. Any closing remarks? Nikki, Dr. Williams?
Nikki's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's really good stuff. I think, I welcome being part of this discussion. I think this is really, really important, something I'm super passionate about. I created something called, and hopefully it'll kind of going back to the solution, it's called AIM. It's not launched yet, but it's Athletes in Medicine. And it doesn't have to be directly medicine. It's like any healthcare related field, whether it's like, I heard a lot of people when we were talking about being a referee, I want people to understand the opportunities with being a medic, being a EMT, being there's just a lot of career opportunities I think people don't know about. It might not be for everyone, but I think our network is wide enough together to really create different opportunities than exist right now. And then again, having discussions like this where we start to empower each other at a younger age is so important. I think the idea of this just mentality, I call it, we're just athletes, or, even right now they ask me where the doctor is and I'm just a resident, and I'm like, wait, no, like I'm the doctor too. Or like when I was overseas, I just played 1 year. Well, that's not really the way that we need to be speaking about things. We really need to be speaking about things like, I played professional basketball. It doesn't matter that it was 1 year. I don't need something else from somebody's college resume if they played a Division I sport to know. I don't need them to have 16 side jobs. If I was hiring or anybody's hiring, that is enough. It's not just basketball and I have nothing to show. I know we talk about it, but I think we need to make more movements to actually be about it and show each other how to use that, and then have uncomfortable, silly discussions like, how did you really get to where you are? Like, I know it sounds like a good story. Like, people ask me like, oh, that's a white coat and a basketball. And it's like, it's not that pretty. But if I could do it again, I would tell you how to do 5 different things and utilize things differently than I did and be in a lot less debt than I am right now. So I think, again, like, just really relying on each other and creating a safe space to have difficult conversations and say, I'm really, really lost, and be vulnerable about that. And again, I think just empowering each other. There's no just in anything any of us have done. And so I think we have to really own that and help pass it along. And I think that's our obligation, especially at a climate right now where things are so divided, from a healthcare community perspective to a racial, perspective. Like, I think basketball and the power of sport is like what we have, and we have such unique opportunity to really use that as a platform. So again, I'll just tell you, when I get my things up and going, and I'm happy to be a resource in whatever way I can. I love these discussions. So I'm here to listen and learn as well. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for jumping on. Anyone want to add before we get off? I know that the curfew in New York is over now. I mean, it's just started, so some of y'all got to stay in the house. Anything you want to add? Collins, anything? You good? Good,
Mark,
thank you.
Mark, I'll
Yes.
say something.
Who's that?
Just to any of the young players, anyone that's on here that is looking to go overseas or explore life after college basketball, I am definitely open to speaking to you one-on-one and helping you through the steps to get through it, because it's not for everyone, but it's possible to get through it, and you just have to know how to work your way through. So Mark has my contact, and I give you permission to give anyone,
okay,
or you can just contact me directly if you need me to be a resource for you.
Appreciate that. Also, one more thing, to the younger athletes who are looking for like agents, or who may already have agents, don't feel afraid to reach out to people who've played overseas and ask them for their agent contact information. Don't feel like you're too good or you need to go get it on your own. reach out to former players who you know, who you might not know. You never know who might be able to put you in a better position, honestly.
Oh, and just to echo that sentiments with Vanessa, if anybody has any interest in, you know, or I know a lot of people are doing things within the basketball community, whether it's coaching or GAs, if you have younger athletes that are interested in looking into the healthcare related field, that's what I'm doing with this kind of organization. I don't know if you guys know, like Myron Roll, who is a professional NFL player, like there are a couple of us that are kind of binding together to say, hey, this is a problem. Even medical sales is incredible. There's just a lot of different things that you can do. And I know this is desired. These, you know, people, I don't think we realize how, I don't want to say lazy other people are, but I don't think we realize from our experience how, you know, we show up to work, and that's in itself is like uncommon. And I was so shocked to see that, but like we show up to work, and when we show up to work, we work. And that to us is ingrained. It's not really ingrained in the rest of the society and the rest of the world. So I can tell you there is a need, especially in healthcare. So if you have anybody, like Mark has my number, I'm pretty responsive. Like I love this, and I want to help people. And again, it might not be me directly, but I think, again, just keeping options open and saying, hey, this person might connect me and this person might know somebody else. I think we have even amongst us probably a large network sitting right here, right now, to reach out to people. So I'm happy, just pass along my information or
Will do.
Anything. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you. Well, that concludes that we got to this week's episode. Anyone want to add anything, feel free, text me, anything like that, and I'll just pass the information on to everyone else. Again, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. You could have been anywhere, but you're here with us. Thank you, guys.